The hefech midos habracha shehi bo hi hame'era v'aklala. The opposite of bracha is klala. The hefech hasimcha v'hashalom, for those who are emes, they get simcha and shalom. V'hatainu shehen ito hu adaigo v'haktoto v'hatzar kol eile chelik odom rosham elokim. So someone who is not emes doesn't have shalom. He has ktata, that's his lot. Strife, division. That's what comes from the lack of emes. The Meiri says it even more succinctly in Pirkei Avos. Im lo yimtza emes bein anoshim. If there's no emes between people, yiskotatu v'yachrivu zeh zeh. They'll fight and end up. The opposite is also true. When there is no peace, then there's also sheker. Again, the Meiri says, P'tata umriva gorim lahagziv ha'emes ula'amis ha'sheker. When there's fight and strife, it causes people to make the emes into sheker and the sheker into emes. Rabbeinu Bachya in Kad HaKemach says, Sinas China, which is the root of not having shalom. Tovo l'daber kzovim neged chaveiro v'sheker. When a person has sinas chinam, he doesn't have shalom, then it leads him to sheker. How much do we have to cry just on the matzav here in Eretz Yisrael, where we are enveloped, almost helpless, with a shilton of sheker, with a government that's kulo sheker, mirosho v'yatsopa. One sheker after another sheker and all kinds of sheker. Leaders themselves are mole sheker. And we see what comes from that. The lack of shalom. How much sorrows. How much pain. How many people still without homes and jobs because of sheker. Because there's no peace. How much war and strife and death. That's enough to cry about. But we have to cry about the sheker and the shalom that's within us, not only around us. It's not only them, it's us. How much sinas chinam, how much strife and division exists within ourselves, within our own families, within our own community, within the frum community. And how much lack of emes. And if we can bring ourselves to recognize what we're missing, how much shalom and emes are missing within our own little world, in the world in general. And we take the school of this night to cry and to recognize really what we're missing and to awaken ourselves to be mavakshe shalom, bakke shalom v'rotfeu, and to be marachik ourselves from sheker, and to be anshe amana, to be people that are trustworthy, people you can count on. That in itself is bechir shel mamish. That crying, that recognition of what we're missing, and the tremendous desire to get it back, is a worthwhile crying. It's substantive. It'll accomplish something. Because the power of crying itself is very, very potent. And Chazal say, had we cried one cry, Before we went into Golus, we never would have gone into Golus. Nebuchadnezzar told Nebuzaradan, don't let the Jewish people rest till you get them over the Nar Pras, till they're out of Eretz Yisrael and Bogel. Because if you let them rest, they're going to cry, and if they cry, we have no power over them. They'll regret all the things they lost, and their crying itself will be the beginning of tshuva, and that'll be it. So he didn't, and he kept them moving. And only al Naros Bavel Shom Yoshavnu, when we crossed the Euphrates, Shom Yoshavnu, there we're able to sit, not before. Gam Bochinu, and then we cried. Bizochreinu Esiyah, when we remembered what we lost. And Yirmiyahu caught up with them, and he found them sitting by Nar Pras crying. And he said to them, Me'id ani aleichem shamayim va'aretz, I bring to witness heaven and earth, she'ilu b'chisem b'chia achas kishahayu b'artzechem lo hayita b'yisem goli. If you would have cried one cry when you still were Eretz Yisrael, you never would have gone into Golus. The Zohar says that it's tears and crying that will ultimately get us out of Golus. Omer Reb Yehuda, Lezimna da'asi maksiv, la'asiv lavo. What does it say? V'dechi yavo v'sachanunim. You'll come back to Eretz Yisrael with tears and crying. Mahu b'dechi yavo. What does that mean? Will come with crying. B'schus bechi de'em hayeled. That first geula was when Bas Paro heard a nar boche, a little Jewish child crying. And the mother of the child was brought to her. And the Zohar says that hints to the fact that not only was the child crying, the mother was also crying. And that's a hint to Rachel Mevaka al Boneha, Rachel Imenu crying. Shehi Rachel, Yovo v'yiskanchu min galusa. In the schus of Rachel Imenu's crying, and she's not only crying alone, but Mevaka al Boneha, she makes us cry, if you listen carefully. V'omer Reb Yitzchak, Purkona di Yisrael Otalya ela b'dechi. The geula of Klal Yisrael depends on crying. Kedei yishtalmun v'yichlun bechi demos debocha Esav kamei avui. Esav cried. He had that tremendous power to feel that he is missing something. He lost out on the brachas. It meant something to him. And he cried. And Chazal say that one tear, because of that, the first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. And the second tear destroyed the second Beis Hamikdash. And had a third tear fallen, there never would be a third Beis Hamikdash, Rahman al-Islam. What it means is when Esav appreciated the brachas that he lost and he cried for them, then when we don't appreciate the brachas and we deal capriciously with them, and because of that lose those brachas, that's a tremendous kitrug against us. Esav appreciated them, and you don't appreciate them. But even Esav only appreciated them worth 2 tears. Dichsiv va'isa Esav kolo vayev v'inhun demoyin achisu liYisrael begalusei. Those tears of Esav put us into Galus. Kiven de yichlun inu demoyin v'tchiyah Yisrael, when we are mavatul the tears of Esav with our tears. When our tears overpower the tears of Esav, Yifkun migalusei, then we'll go out of the Galus. Hahadohu dichsiv the bechi yavo v'sachanunim ovilei.